Going on an island exchanging boat through a remote piece of the Indonesian archipelago to the last enduring fortress of the world's greatest reptile transport. This spot, they are fantastic. This is the home of the track. Steve Irwin, frequently known as the crocodile tracker, was notable for his connect-to-creature diversion in Australia. His loved ones across the globe revered him. Many individuals were stunned and disheartened by his unexpected demise. Wild animals are frequently viewed as both wonderful and hazardous, and it is ordinarily desirable over not connect with them. In the northeastern corner of Australia, where the top end meets the ocean, hides a remnant from the times of the dinosaurs. Certain individuals may not be scared of creatures, yet they have a significant regard for nature's unprecedented animals that can't be shaken. Steve Irwin had an extraordinary love for creatures which he conveyed with him even after his demise. He was an untamed life-trained professional and protection champion, an animal specialist and a tree hugger, not simply a television character who took care of crocodiles in front of cameras. His dad was a reptile and land and water proficient trained professional, and his mom was a natural life rehabilitator. In this manner he experienced childhood in a family of untamed life specialists. He was brought up within the sight of crocodiles and different reptiles and educated to oversee them at an early age. His childhood was uncommon in that he was given a 12-foot clean python at 6 years old, and by the age of 9 he was fighting crocodiles under the management of his dad. Steve got more dynamic with the recreation area as he became older, and he likewise chipped in for a crocodile control program in Queensland, gathering north of 100 potential dangerous crocodiles. Creatures like crocodiles and kills requires colossal fixation. You must be absolutely ready. Now when a camera team comes into the situation, you must stress over them too, and that is the point at which my focus can be earned back the original investment. Briefly, he purchased the recreation area in 1991 and renamed it Australia Zoo in 1998, giving it the noticeable quality it merited. Steve, a 44-year-old television character and natural life expert with 10 years of involvement with the hit series The Crocodile Tracker, accepted his epithet on September 4, 2006. He was continually in a hurry and never needed to stop, since he was so excited about his calling both on and off camera. He was likewise significantly enamored with his significant other, Terry, and his 2 kids, Bindi and Robert. Nothing in his life had all the earmarks of being ready to change his perspectives about his enthusiasm for his profession, family and creatures. On September 4, Steve and his group were shooting a narrative called Sea's Deadliest at Pat Reef, a piece of the incomparable Hindrance Reef close to Port Douglas, Australia. In spite of the fact that Steve was feeling much better and persuaded not every person in the group felt the same way. What a phenomenal animal! Categories immense. Top dog. Take a gander at the spots and those pretty feety minimal bruised eyes. John Stanton, his dearest companion and maker of the crocodile tracker, thought something was off base. Truly, 3 weeks prior to shooting, John called the Disclosure Channel and requested that they leave the venture, yet they had previously dedicated a significant measure of cash. Regardless of this, John had clinical tests and arranged a will. Since he was unable to dispose of the tension that anything could happen to him, Steve met with the group a couple of days before creation started. However, John's anxiety continued. Steve said thanks to his staff for being there and helping him before the development of Sea's Deadliest began. To some it might have appeared to be a commonplace thank you discourse, yet to John Stanton, a dear companion of Steve's, it felt odd and creepy, practically like a last goodbye. Regardless of this, they needed to continue to record. Steve and John got up right off the bat Monday, anxious to work, yet additionally needing to get to know each other, considering before they began they were drinking tea on the deck of Steve's 75-foot research vessel, fittingly named Rock 1. While looking out over the sea, Steve was lively and perky, commenting about how wonderful life was to him and how enthusiastic he was for another experience anyway. As the day proceeded with the group reasoned that conditions were excessively cloudy to shoot Sea's Deadliest, the group decided to defer recording for Sea's Deadliest for a couple of hours or perhaps a day, since the oceans were too dim. Steve Irwin then again seen the postponement as an opportunity to record material for his little girl Bindi's arranged Untamed Life program on the Disclosure Children channel. Bindi, the wilderness young lady which she would have. The channel trusted she'd have the option to fill her dad's shoes and show youths all over the globe nature and its occupants. Steve felt this was a phenomenal thought. Since his girl was a little imitation of himself, he taught his picture taker Justin Lyons to set up his hardware and plan for a quick jump. Steve and his cameraman Justin Lyons were capable swimmers who had expected to film successions with a tiger shark button, couldn't find one. They decided to film with a stingray rather. They isolated an inflatable boat from the principal boat and plunged in light of the fact that the water was shallow and the jumpers were capable. Nothing might have cautioned them of what planned to happen. Stingrays, while having stingers, are not customarily viewed as destructive species since they are not forceful until compromised. They typically swim away or conceal in the sand, and they possibly assault individuals when incited, for example, when they are unintentionally trampled. No such pretext were taken by Steve and his videographer Justin Lyons. They happened upon a beautiful short followed stingray with a back spread of around 6.5 feet and shot it for the television program. Steve wasn't stressed since he was accustomed to managing crocodiles consistently, yet something bizarre and horrendous happened in the wake of becoming disturbed. The stingray pushed its well-honed tail into Steve Irwin's chest. In spite of the fact that Justin the videographer was staggered and needed to quit recording, Steve had a standard that they needed to keep shooting. Paying little heed to what happened, the video continued to move while the stingray broadened its tail quickly, and when it swam away, Steve was remaining in a major pool of blood. The tale that surfaced in the days after was that Steve had hauled the spike out of his chest, yet his cameraman Justin Lyons, who was there at the time, showed that this was not the case. The sharp thorn had effectively pierced Steve's chest and he had acknowledged he was in huge peril. He cried as he rose from the chest, "Profound water, it punctured my lung." However, the fact of the matter was a lot of more terrible. Justin saw a 2-inch wide twisted over Steve's heart with blood and liquid overflowing from it. He and the remainder of the group briskly stacked Steve into the inflatable boat and got back to the primary boat. Justin desperately tried to help his pal, teaching other team individuals to apply tension on the slice and beseeching Steve to live for his kids. Anyway, Steve serenely looked at his friend and commented, "I'm biting the dust." Prior to passing out, the staff attempted CPR, yet it was past the point of no return. Paramedics came and found he had kicked the bucket. Regardless of whether they had the option to carry him to an emergency clinic, the gigantic harm to his heart would have killed him. The mishap film has never been disclosed and is probably not going to be distributed later on. Steve Irwin kicked the bucket in 2 or 3 seconds while doing what he cherished, generally captivating with creatures. Terry, his significant other, and their kids Bendy and Robert were on a vacation in Tasmania. At the point when they learned of the misfortune, Terry was informed of the dreadful news by the zoo, the executives, and needed to get the boldness to let her youngsters know. When they got back to Australia Zoo, they were shocked to find the media hanging tight for them. However, they additionally got blossoms from Steve's family. Terry never remarried in light of the fact that Steve was her first love and nobody might at any point rise to their animal dwelling place. Rather, she and her kids took over Australia Zoo, carrying on Steve's inheritance. Bindi and Robert are both animal handlers and naturalists who need to make their father pleased consistently. Steve Irwin will be recollected as an entertaining, ridiculous entertainer as well as a preservationist and creature sweetheart who utilized inventive strategies to advance mindfulness and teach general society about the worth of nature.